Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the October 10th, 2022 edition, brought to you by Temple City Auto Repair. If you're having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry. So, the Rams lost. So, where do we go from there? Okay, what was going through my mind was as I'm trying to watch this game and I'm trying to remain calm and really a hard thing to do because it's not a loss. It's a loss to the Cowboys, which is something that's next level kind of loss to me. Losing in the Super Bowl to the Patriots isn't as upsetting as losing to the Cowboys at home during the regular season. Sorry, it's just the way I'm built. But so I'm watching this and I'm just fuming. I'm thinking all the bad stuff, and then I'm just trying to say, okay, how can we stay positive here? Can we stay positive here? And if you've ever seen the original Bad News Bears, I didn't watch the sequel or the remake of the Bad News Bears, but the original. And they have their nerd guy who keeps all the stats, and his name's Ogilvy. And the coach says, "Come on, guys, Rome wasn't built in a day, and in fact, it took several hundred years." Ogilvy says, and then he says, "Okay, here's the facts. Well, we committed 24 errors. Their pitcher threw a no-hitter against us, but there is some good news. Two of our runners almost managed to get to first base, and we hit 17 foul balls." And that's how desperate it is to look for good stuff in that Ram loss. But before we get to the bad, just want to just point out a couple things to kind of keep emotions somewhat in check. And I'm firmly a firm believer in that emotions shouldn't be kept in check when it comes to the Rams losing to the Cowboys. The game at all levels felt like a blowout, 22-10, right? Blowout, 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 blowout. Okay, that's what the game felt like. But you take out the scoop and score to start the game, which was just, come on, anyone's holding Stafford accountable for that, please. The scoop and score, the blocked punt, which is 2 blocked punts in one season for us. That's not the punter. There's an issue there. And we spotted the Cowboys 9-0 lead before you could say, Tony Romo dated Jessica Simpson. And so it's 9-0. And so if you take away that opening 5-minute disaster, it's a 13-10 game, right? And I go again, I'm trying to look at the optimistic part here before we get to all the offense and defense and stuff and everything like that. The defense isn't horrible, but it's having moments where they simply refuse to tackle and they turn opponents into Roger Craig and Earl Campbell. I mean, you take Deebo Samuel's run last week, Wilson's touchdown run last week, and then Tony Pollard's run. Literally, besides getting through the line of scrimmage, Terrell Burgess had him, Nick Scott had him, and nobody can bring him down 57 yards later. The tackling is atrocious. It's absolutely atrocious. And if Pollard doesn't score on that run, then we're looking at a 10-6 game. And the defense did their job. The defense is responsible for 6 points. The defense did their job. It wasn't great. They got to Cooper Rush 3 times. So besides knowing that Taylor Rapp, Nick Scott, and Terrell Burgess can't make a tackle, we know the defense is competitive. Rams couldn't win with this defense, even with all the shortages at corner, right? The Rams can win with this defense. And also another positive, there was a Tutu sighting, right? First time, 2 years, 17 games last year, 25 games this year. In the 22nd game of since Tutu Atwell's been drafted, he caught his first pass, and it was an over-the-top pass, and Stafford had a little bit of time, laid it in there, and Tutu made the over-the-shoulder catch. So, all right, there we go. There's the positives, okay? And so we could take those things. It was the defense did their job. We spotted them 9 points early thanks to the offense and special teams. And then there was that one glitch in that Tony Pollard run. And basically with all that, you're taking 16 points off the board for the Cowboys. You're taking 16 points off the board because all the other time, they started gashing the Rams at the end. They started moving the ball a little bit. But they really didn't turn anything into points. When Raheem Morris's defense needed to play, they played with the exception of the glitch, the tilt, the brain freeze, where they just couldn't make a tackle on Tony Pollard on that play. So there's your good news, right? But offensively, there were stretches that looked like 2020 again. And it wasn't because I think McVay believes Stafford's limited. It's because he has no faith in that offensive line. He is literally getting his quarterback killed. And the point where I knew the game was over, it was even before. It was what was it, 19-10, and Matt Gay missed the field goal early in the fourth, right? And before that field goal, it was 3rd and 19, and this was right out of the 2020 playbook, where it's 3rd and 17, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 13, and we're throwing the hitch inside screen pass, and that's what Stafford did on 3rd and 17, 3rd and 19, just before Gay missed the field goal. And that when that play was run, I just knew this game's over. And it was just the football karma and the football mojo just said that, yeah, Gay is going to miss that field goal. That game is over. And my other question was, before we get to the offensive line, is why were Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp set back on the field in the final series with a little more than 2 minutes left to play? This game wasn't going to change. There was nothing in that Ram offense that was going to do anything. And I think Stafford and Kupp had taken enough of a beating. We saw Kupp. Kupp was hurting. Stafford got lit up over and over again. And when you start adding up interceptions at the end of the season and say, oh, look, Matthew Stafford threw 17 interceptions, just put that last one he threw, that one in the insignificant column. The man was getting his butt hammered all whole game, just getting hammered. And he had to get rid of the ball. You do what he does. I'm going to ask Tom Brady to do what he does, right? I'm going to ask Josh Allen to do what he does when you're getting hit like that. And so just don't even start with, oh, Stafford threw another interception, because I understand the sports bar mentality there. Just let it rock. Let it go. Let it walk. Okay. And then, of course, we get to the offensive line. Believe it or not, Joe Noteboom actually graded out well above average, according to PFF. And if you watch the game, it wasn't from the left side that Stafford was getting smacked. It was up the middle. It was from the right. The team has invested dollars in Noteboom and Havenstein, and they, by and large, they haven't been great, barely good at sometimes, often a little below average. But Noteboom was not bad yesterday compared to everybody else. And then you get the interior line, because the money is on the wings there. It's in the tackles. When you get to the interior line, winning NFL football was not meant to be played with third string. The Rams are not playing second stringers here. They're playing third stringers. Jeremiah Colon has been in the Rams organization consistently, plays through the summer, gets released, gets put back on the practice squad. Since 2018, he is taking his first snaps this year. These last 2 weeks are his first snaps. And, of course, he performed the way you expected him to perform. Bobby Evans is an absolute bust, okay? And Alaric Jackson, along with Havenstein, probably had their worst days as pros. Like I said, Noteboom graded reasonably well. David Edwards was putrid until he went out. In fact, his grades probably went up after he went out. He was awful. And then Bobby Evans played 12 snaps, right? And I said, if Bobby Evans plays more than 10 snaps, the Rams are going to lose. And Bobby Evans played 12 snaps and the Rams lost. Cologne did exactly what you expected him to do. And of course, Havenstein and Alaric Jackson were not good at all. So what's the remedy here? I keep hearing, bring Andrew Whitworth out, bring Andrew Whitworth back. Andrew Whitworth can't fix this. He's a tackle. And right now, overall, your tackles aren't your issue. It's the interior. It's the up the middle defense. You can't even really get a legitimate, consistent push on the ground. The Rams' running game was non-existent, and it wasn't Cam Akers' fault. It wasn't Darrell Henderson's fault. It wasn't even the newly christened number 41 Malcolm Brown's fault, right? They're not getting a push. I am not real big on some of the stretch outside zone plays they run, but they need to pound it up the middle, and they really consistently couldn't do that yesterday, which meant that Stafford was a sitting duck, just repeatedly over and over again. So signing Andrew Whitworth is not going to solve the interior of the offensive line. So what's the remedy? And the remedy is the Rams have to make a decision. Right now, emotionally, we want to say, I'm not going to say have to say. Emotionally, we want to say this season is over. It's real easy right now. Rams are 2-3. they've lost, they've lost to the three biggies on their schedule, right? They beat Arizona, they beat Atlanta, but they've lost to Buffalo, they've lost to San Francisco, they've lost to Dallas, right? And all of that could even be acceptable if you beat Frisco, because that's within the division. You'd be 3-2 and you'd be 2-0 in the division, but they lost. So emotionally, this season feels like it's over. But it's still a 17-game schedule. They're only 2-3. And here's the real problem. The Rams are built for this window. This is the window the Rams are built for. 2023, 2024, mostly 2024, and draft help doesn't mean a whole lot right now to Matthew Stafford, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and Bobby Wagner. It just doesn't mean a whole lot. Doesn't mean a whole lot with Ashawn Robinson and Greg Gaines coming up as free agents next year. Doesn't mean a lot with Leonard Floyd looking older, right? It doesn't mean a lot. It doesn't mean a lot when you're thinking of the level of pounding Cooper Kupp is taking, and where's he going to be physically in 2023, 2024? This is football. Football is a game of attrition. And after a while, the mileage and the hit counts go up, and sooner or later, you got to look for a trade-in, right? The Rams have their second and third round picks in 2023, and in 2024, they have 7 picks, including all their first through 5 picks in the first 5 rounds. They have a first round pick through the 5th round in 2024. And so the question is that with draft capital, maybe you got to make a decision right now. This is our window. Are we going to surrender this season after 5 weeks, or are we going to make a move to get an interior lineman? Because right now, Dennis Hara and Joe Schiavelli aren't walking through that door. It's if I'm Matthew Stafford, I go on a boycott. I just say I refuse to take the field with Jeremiah Colon at center and Bobby Evans or David Edwards at left guard. Bobby Evans or David Edwards at left guard, and we don't even know David Edwards' condition. He just got up and walked off the field holding his head. All right, so we don't know David Edwards' condition. So that means you're talking Bobby Evans against Carolina next week. So the question is, you're going to have to keep running with Alaric Jackson. You're going to have to keep running with Rob Havenstein and Joe Noteboom. But at left guard and center, I know we're getting closer to Brian Allen coming back, but you're going to have to bite the bullet and make sure he's healthy when he comes back. So you need a left guard. You need somebody. And so the Rams need to make a decision here. Are we going to make an in-season move for a guard? Because we got to find out. Right now, we don't know what we have. Stafford is making his connections with Higbee and Kupp because of history and connections. He knows where they're going to be, and he has to think less about them. So that's why they're getting more targets than Allen Robinson. It looked like they tried to get targets for Allen Robinson. Again, I'm not going to come out and say Allen Robinson's a bust or anything like that. Don't go there. But you're never going to find out about Allen Robinson, and you're never going to find out about anything else unless Stafford has some time to deliver the ball. That's the bottom line. And sooner or later, he's going to get shell-shocked. I mean, sooner or later, you take 21 sacks. I think we're at 21 sacks right now, 5 games in. That's an average of 4 sacks a game. What are you supposed to accomplish with that? That's not counting the pressures, the hurries, the hits, and everything else he's taking. So the Rams are kind of in this position right now. It's like, well, we got 12 games left this year. We're in a winnable division. We still got Frisco coming here. The Cardinals are not what everyone thought they were going to be. Seahawks are competitive, but they're not what everyone thought they can be. So the playoffs are still a possibility. There's a possibility for everyone to get healthy. But even if you bring OBJ back, this fantasy that OBJ is going to come, we're going to sign him, and he's going to be ready to go late November, right? And he's and not going to need any time to adjust. It doesn't make any difference if John Wolford's your quarterback, right? Because Stafford ain't going to last. Right now, he's not going to last. So the Rams have to make a decision. We're going to spend some of that draft capital, bring in some interior offensive linemen. I was just looking through the league, some of the better offensive linemen this year for the teams that are bad and not going anywhere. Chris Lindstrom with the Falcons was drafted a few years ago by them. Falcons are in a rebuild. Maybe. Cody Whitehair. The Bears aren't very good. Cody Whitehair is okay. He's again, think what the Rams need right now. The Rams are not expecting to get, John Hanna here. They just need somebody that's okay right now. They just need somebody that's okay. So Cody Whitehair from the Bears, he's not great, might not be expensive, but he's okay. Maybe you get him for a third-round pick from the Bears, right? Bears might be looking for something like that. They're terrible. Their season's over. They're not going anywhere. Brandon Scherf just signed with Jacksonville. He's another one that I was looking at in Jacksonville. They signed him for the long haul. But I'm just looking at some of these names of the better guards for the bad teams. Alex Mack just retired for the 49ers. Would he be interested in coming back and taking a few hits for the Rams? And then there's Eric Flowers, whose name was mentioned. He's the former Giant and Dolphin and Jaguar and Taxkin. And he was released back in the spring. He's 6'6", 330. He was taken by I think it was the Giants, first round, 9th overall in 2015 out of Miami. He's still out there, which leads me to believe if he's still out there, does anybody want him? But again, what are we looking for? We're looking for competence. And literally, I don't know how David Edwards played on Sunday, Bobby Evans, who we've seen, and Jeremiah Colon are any better than somebody you would have hiking you the ball and blocking for you in a backyard football game. I just don't think they are, And so if you were able to pull in some guy that's just average, you might be able to keep Stafford upright for a while. And Coleman Shelton's gone for a while. Brian Allen still a few weeks away. I like Alaric Jackson. I think Alaric Jackson had a bad game. Rob Havenstein had a bad game, but we've seen Rob Havenstein for 8 years. We know Rob Havenstein's not bad, okay? And honestly, folks, look at the grades on Joe Noteboom. Joe Noteboom was not the problem yesterday. In fact, when you look at the first scoop and score, my gosh, it was like, did David Edwards even know the game had started? And they got blitzed right at there, not even blitzed. Webster came right up the middle and creamed Stafford. So that's what it is right now for the Rams. The defense, guys, some brain freezes there, some bad tackling, but literally the defense only gave up 6 points yesterday. 6 points. The Rams can win, okay? The Rams can win. They got to keep Stafford upright. They have to fix the offensive line. They just have to. Before you get worried about Allen Robinson, the weekly screeds on Tutu Atwell, before you start complaining about, Cam Akers, before you start getting all worked up about everything else, a Stafford interception, the offensive line's a disaster right now. The interior of the offensive line. You made your bed. You got to dance with Havenstein and Noteboom, and I think you're going to be okay there. Alaric Jackson has played better than most people thought. He was bad on Sunday. But right now, you cannot go into another week and expect to have any success or keep anyone upright if you're running Jeremiah Colon, Bobby Evans, and right now, an unhealthy David Edwards out there, right? So yeah, it was a bad weekend in sports. Of course, I'm a Mets fan, which people like to remind me, and the Mets are gone. You're watching the NFL this week, and yeah, a lot of stuff, and I don't care. Rams lost. I mean, just sickening feeling that when the Rams lose to the Cowboys, because then we got all those fair weather Cowboys fans coming out of the woodwork like the Cowboys have won a Super Bowl since 1995. Oh, no, they haven't won a Super Bowl since 1995. Oh, but they've been to no, they haven't even been to a Super Bowl since 1995. But they've probably been to a conference. No, they haven't even been to a conference championship game, I don't think, since 1995. So, yeah, we lost to them. I hate the Cowboys. Okay, folks, I'm Joe Terosian. As we come to the 19-minute mark, you can follow me here at YouTube, the likes, everything. We're on iHeart. We're on Spotify, on podcast. Please check us out, and we'll go from there as we go forward talking Ram football. Take care. God bless. I will talk to you soon.